Welcome. What's going on, everyone? I'm Mr. Trayvon Miles, along with the special guest anchor, Mr. Julian Sidor.
Thanks, Trey. And yeah, welcome to Delmar Sports Insider, the only show on the shore giving you in-depth analysis to all local sports here on the shore.
That's right. We've got a loaded show per usual. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Coming up on tonight's episode, a matchup of two of the more storied programs in the Henlopen South. I'm talking about Delmar and Indian River.
And we take you to the Bayside with some game-winning field hockey action you'll have to see to believe.
That's right, and we dive into the heart of the AFC North with one of football's fiercest rivalries, Steelers and Ravens predictions, coming up a little bit later. Welcome to the show, folks. You know, we're jam-packed as we usually are, but we've got a lot of good action, some great matchups in the state of Delaware this week on the gridiron, including defending Division I champion Smyrna in action in their first Henlopen Conference game in Week 4. Only their first conference game.
Late for a conference game, right?
Exactly. I would say so against against Cape Henlopen. Right out of the gate, Smyrna quarterback is Isaiah Wilson. He is going to be picked off on one of the first plays of the game. Interception by Kenneth Witherspoon. He's going to take it the distance. That's a pick six. Cape taking an early lead to the surprise of many in attendance, and that went all downhill. Number 25, Will Knight, finding the end zone as he usually does. They would go for two as they usually do, and they would get it as they usually do. They take an 8-7 lead, and then check out Wilson's. He's making amends for that early interception. He's going to get the keeper right there, fools the whole defense, and gets it on the ground. Smyrna goes on to win their first conference game of the year, 54-21, moved to 2-2 on the season, thanks to a 4-touchdown night by Sir William Knight. And I'll tell you what, it's good to see the state champions win their first in-state game. We did see them lose to Middletown in the first game of the season in that rematch from last year's championship game. But I'll tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, the record did not scare me at all. Them starting 0-2 did not bother me. They're still one of the top two teams in the state. But I will say this, the gap is getting closer between Smyrna and those other teams, including a central team, Sussex Central, that we'll see in a little bit.
Right, yeah, that's true. I mean, you know what, though? Good to see them get the conference win. That's what you need. Conference games, that's what matters.
That's right.
All right, well, shifting gears now, we can't talk about Delaware football without talking about, of course, the undefeated Woodbridge Blue Raiders. So let's dive right in. The Raiders clearly fired up for their matchup against Laurel, who are fresh off a big win against Washington. But early on, the Blue Raiders let the Bulldogs know winning would not be on the menu tonight. Tayshawn Ford-Jackson with a nice stick right there on third down. Now, on the other side of the ball, Raiders averaging 35 points a game coming in, and they would keep on cooking. Jamon Kane takes a pitch, 15 yards for a nice gain right there. But in Raider Nation, you know who the big dog is. It's QB Troy Haynes. He's going to fool the whole stadium on this. Almost got our cameraman, too. He's going to keep it for 25 yards. Slight work for the junior. So with Haynes being the lightning, you know, Kane had to provide the thunder right here, bouncing off a would-be tackler, stretching it in for the score. Trey with the sound effects. Woodbridge keeps a 0 in their loss column and on their opponent's side of the scoreboard, beating Laurel 35-0. And like I said, Woodbridge fresh off their first ever state title. So Trey, with an impressive performance, they're undefeated. Is there a repeat possibly in the future?
I'll tell you what, it's funny you asked that because they just beat Wilmington Friends a couple weeks ago, the team that they played in the state championship last year. As far as I'm concerned, as far as D2 football goes in Delaware, the championship is ultimately running through Greenwood. So we might see a repeat on the menu as we saw with Smyrna last year. So that'll be pretty interesting. They are one of the best teams in the state, Woodbridge is.
There we go.
All right, on to Dagsboro, where in past, a meeting between Delmar and Indian River usually serves as some kind of implication as to what will happen in the Henlopen South. This one just a little bit different with the dominance of Woodbridge and IR just trying to end a two-game losing streak since that upset win over Glasgow in Week 1. This is always a physical matchup. You know you're not going to get much, and if you do, there's going to be some hits to it. Carson Phillips laying the lumber right there on a 12-yard run. Look at him hand the ball over. Thank you, sir. A little bit later in the drive, the handoff goes to Tayshawn Denard. He's up the middle, breaking a couple tackles, and he is into the end zone from 20 yards out for the Wildcats. They had a big lead in this one, and then the defense would start to clamp down. Check this out, 4th and 8 for IR. Jalen Sneed going to roll out to his left, looking for a pass. Denard able to get around the corner for the sack as the Indians turn it over on downs. Cole Hitch now in at quarterback for IR, under pressure, throwing one up. Ian Shanier with a fingertip catch right there by Tyler Wright. Delmar moving to 3-1 on the season with a 41-6 win over Indian River.
And from one blowout win to another, undefeated Sussex Central going on a business trip up to Dover. Why a business trip, you ask? Well, just take a look at the scoreboard. Central handling their business, already up 35-0 at the half. Now, in the second half, Tajir Shepard-Parker, he had his work uniform on and his lunch pail ready. He's going to work on Dover's defense, and he would actually set up the run. We see here, Damon Hall. Now you see him. Now you don't. Wait.
Here he comes.
There he is.
Yeah.
Breaks it out of the pile for the easy score. Central would take this one easily, 42-7, to improve to 4-0.
That's right. Also in the first state, a couple more scores to get to you. Lake Forest falling to 1-3 to start the season with a tough 3-score loss to Caravel. Milford getting a Henlopen South win with a shutout at home against at Milford against Seaford, and in an upset. I'm tongue-tied because I still can't believe this score. Polytech, the Panthers, get a win against Cesar Rodney. What a win for Poly up against their close rivals. That was certainly out the blue, I will say. I don't think anybody in the state had that game picked.
Upset alert, there it is.
I would say so. All right, that wraps up Delaware. When we return, we go to the Bayside Conference. Why, you know, when DSI returns.
This is Glenn Hoot Gibson, Bent High School's head football coach, and you're watching Delmar Sports Insider.